Greetings, YouTube. This is the Garage Autonomist. Tonight is my Q&A. The good news about this week is that my summer has officially started. My Friday days off until late August has started as well. So you will be seeing videos coming from me. I've already used up my quota of animated robots for the 2 months. Every 2 months, I told myself that I would only do animated robots for you guys. Like, damn, hold on. Okay. Although I have to admit my that it's way easier doing the animated robots. Okay. So, all right. So tonight it's a Q&A live, as I had talked about earlier. So that's what we're going to be doing. Now, let's see here. I'm going to just close out that window, try to make sure my bandwidth is all right. Okay, that looks good. Should be okay now. All right, so don't see anyone in the chat room just yet, which is good because my first question, luckily, I have two questions actually. Luckily, they were sent to me via email, via direct messaging. So that way I can go ahead and use that as a start before anybody shows up in the chat with any questions. So that's probably the best way for me to go. And I'm going to use the big question for later. Now I want to go ahead and start with my former troll. And I say former because once you go beyond that part where you can't confront me on issues with an actual goddamn argument or facts or any of that, then you could just, and the only thing you could do is just do some name calling. Then that's when I block you. And once you're blocked, you don't exist. So you're not a troll anymore. But you all may have seen me talk to this gentleman. His name is Monkey Handlebars. I have my suspicions as to who he really is. Anyway, Monkey Handlebars, this past weekend, he and I got into it on Pure Butterfly Spirits video. I used my backup account for Garage Autonomist because that, like I said, he's blocked from this channel, so I can't see him at all. And hold on here. Oh, cool. Strange Fruit and Why Not Now is here. All right, cool. All right, good. Hello, y'all. Hi, comrades. How y'all doing? So let me go ahead and finish what I was saying. So Monkey Handlebars and I got into it, and I went on ahead and fashioned his comments directed at me as questions. Guys, if I'm cutting out or anything like that, just go ahead and type a 0. If I'm coming out clear, just type a 1 in the comment section. All right, I'm going to go ahead and go into the question. So he had a list of grievances in his questions aimed at me, I guess. And what I decided to do was to go ahead and fashion his comments as a question. So Monkey Handlebar says, you, meaning me, Garage, hang with the devilish broads who wish black men to be dead and their influence within feminist circles. Now, what Monkey Handlebars means is that he accuses me of being in league with a particular sect of women on YouTube who supposedly wish all black men dead. The sect that he refers to are a sect of women who go by several identities online. But I will give you 3 examples The so-called swirlers, i.e., Black women who see interracial relationships as an alternative to continue to pursue Black men, and also the so-called Black women who are going their own way, and the Black women empowerment sect. Now, there is a great deal of overlap between these three groups that I've mentioned. So they usually get lumped in together. But what I want you, well, what I want, well, what, sorry, well, what I want to say to Monkey Handlebars and others is that the one misconception doing is to lumping these women with feminists in general and Black feminists in particular. You guys have always been getting away with a lie for years now, saying that the aforementioned sects are feminists. I've noticed that you guys have a tendency of labeling anything that women do that you don't like uh, having a mind of their own, changing their minds, doing stuff that you don't want them to do as women. You then want to label them as feminists. I think it's very good for you all to, and I've said this many times, you all need to go ahead and sit down and read books about feminism in order for you to make a goddamn opinion, to have a goddamn opinion of it. Good. So I'm coming in clear. Why Not Now says, I know who he's talking about, Brooklyn Blue. And Why Not Now says, and they are not feminists, that's for sure. Crystal and Brooklyn Blue are not feminists. Yeah, I'm about to get into that right now with my answer to Monkey Handlebars. Why Not Now? And welcome. Why Not Now has been with me from the start. She's been on this channel from when I first started, when I only had like 10 subscribers. So peace to Why Not Now. One of these days, I would love to have you on as a guest. Why Not Now? I know that you don't have your own channel, but believe me, I don't believe in all that. You know, people need to have a channel, or they need to have certain amount of subscribers and all that crap. I'm willing to have anybody on to have a talk. But anyway, let me go ahead and go into this guy and finish up with Monkey Handlebars. So anyway, like I was saying, there's a huge misconception that the particular sect of Black women on YouTube that I had mentioned are Black feminists. They are not. Now, we'll say this: the commonality between the three sects of women versus feminists is very clear. These women are rightfully opposed to being stuck in relationships with men who are abusive and who constantly attack them, and these women don't want to settle for, say, less for the lowest common denominator of men who in return have nothing to offer them. They are resisting the cultural pressure to have to settle for men who say that they should have no options dating anyone else, when other Western women are not really put upon the same kind of pressure. So that's basically where they're at. That's basically who these women are. Now, the main difference between these women versus feminists is that the mainstream of feminists agree that patriarchy, even benevolent patriarchy, is a system of control and should be dismantled regardless of the illusory material benefits that traditional patriarchal relationships supposedly have. All right. So do you all follow me so far? With feminism, there is a class analysis because they see women as a class whose bodies and labor are exploited by the rule of those who have subjugated them throughout history. In other words, men. And I'll get to the comments in the comment section in just a little minute. While I still have this in my brain, I just want to finish this off. It is the same analysis that we as class warriors, Marxists and anarchists, should seamlessly understand as well. We know that capitalism must be dismantled, no matter the illusion of material benefits that we think we have when we are being exploited, and we could have a right to all of its benefits because of it. Because it is we who are doing the labor, not the bosses. So on that note, it is clear that it do not necessarily quote unquote hang with the WGTOW or the black or the WGTOW as they call themselves, or the Black Women Empowerment Group or the swirlers. But I do sympathize with their need to be free of any repression on them for their self-determination and their desire not to have abusive, exploitative men as the only options for relationships. But my real allyship does lie with feminists and Black feminists in particular. So that's all I got to say about that. Then Monkey Handlebar said to me, the left has the inability to deal with scrutiny. That is not true, Monkey Handlebars. As a matter of fact, some people on the left usually do have a problem with scrutiny, but not me. I've been open to critique in the past, and I've never had problems with people coming here and expressing those critiques, as long as they're not going straight into name calling like you and GTFO Simp and Brothers First have done in the past. That's why I don't engage with you, Monkey Handlebars, and that's the reason why in the last minute I decided not to lift your ban from this channel. I told you that I would lift it to allow you to participate, but looking at the questions and the comments that you left in Pure Butterfly Spirits channel, I realized that having a conversation with you is really not worth it. So that's about it. I think that Monkey Handlebar says, he also says this: the Black Manosphere, or just Black men, or the Black MRM, I think he's calling them the Black Men's Rights Movement now. I think that's what he's calling them. May have its faults, but it exists for a reason. Who was it that said that Black male privilege existed? Obsidian tore your fallacious argument into smithereens when you defended that god-awful list of Black male privilege list. Okay, let me say this for the 101,000th time. Actually, no, Obsidian did not tear anything apart because Obsidian avoided the list altogether. When I appeared on his Black Blog Talk Radio back in December for the second and last time, which is what I thought we would do. I thought we were going to talk about the list, like point for point, and debate each point. He did not do that. What Obsidian did instead was he chose to open the lines up to his cronies for help, knowing that when they got into the mix, this would break apart the discussion, and it went exactly the way he wanted. In other words, he wanted to sabotage the conversation. Hold on just for 1 second. All right, good. That's working. And when you go back to his grammatically fucked up screeching and shrilly screed that he wrote on A Voice for Men, or it could have been Return of Kings, or one of those websites where the emotionally crippled and the rape apologists love to hang out, like Monkey Handlebars, for instance. When he talked about Black male privilege, where did the exact same thing, he did the exact same thing there that he did in the debate with me. He avoided the actual list itself. He avoided the actual subject itself. And he went straight into a whole nother topic to use that as an example of non-Black male privilege. And in the case of that article, he talks about, of all things, the fact that Obama came to Chicago to speak on gun violence in the city, but because the gender of the young woman who sang at Obama's inauguration was recently murdered, he said that Obama, in his speech, in order to talk about that issue, he wants to push something on all politicians to do somehow. And somehow it negates Black male privilege. In other words, because Obama came there and spoke for this young woman who was murdered, this somehow negates the fact that there's such a thing as Black male privilege, because Obama spoke for a dead girl. That's how petty this little fucking dwarf is, right? And that's really how petty the so-called black manosphere is. Anyway, Dr. Jewel Wood's list pertains to the internal conditions of the black community where black male privilege exists versus the external where white supremacy exists. And obviously, in that regard, there is no black male privilege per se. So the thing is that they always like to argue what black men are going through in the rest of the world or outside of the black community to prove or to say or to negate that there's such a thing as black male privilege, when in fact it does indeed exist, but it exists only within the black community um, and the diaspora at large. All right, so that's enough I got to say really about monkey handlebars. I'm kind of, I had a whole bunch of answers to his bullshit, but at this point, my my comment section is jumping like hell. So I need to go ahead and respond to what's happening in the in the comments in the chat. All right, so let me start with Elm City. Elm City says, "What's up, GA? Why not now?" Says Brooklyn Blue and CK both believe that we have to exist within the current patriarchal system. Brooklyn Blue believes that we can gain from it. Crystalline Kerosene. The Strange Fruit agrees with her. Now, my boss, who I like, by the way, says, no, that's why I think they're both crazy. Being a slave isn't ever good, no matter what you get out of it. Why Not Now says, I sympathize with them, but I have issues with them all. That I'm with you on that one. Why Not Now? And that's the reason why I won't ever make a video about them or what they say or do or any of that crap. Is that, okay, I've never noticed this person. Is that Etchas? I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Welcome, because I've never seen you before. Any opinion on Philip DeFranco's channel? Do you have any pets? Okay. Strange Fruit says, I'm not interested in sexist, misogynistic men. Mabase says, do you like big butts? Also, do you think sexism is prevalent due to capitalism? All right. Do I think sexism is prevalent due to capitalism? That's a very good question, Mabase. Yes, I do. I think that capitalism perpetuates sexism even more. And I mean, think about it. It kind of goes into what I was going to get into a little bit later, which is about was going to be about porn and prostitution. But yeah, I do think that capitalism, that sexism, is more prevalent due to capitalism. Elm City says big booties matter. Why Not Now? You take what you need from those messages, you leave the rest out. Yep, good point. Why Not Now says, I'm married to a black man. I think strong black men are actually feminist. I agree. Elm City says, I hate Obsidian. Me too, Elm City. Mabase says, Sweet Speak saw it and they labeled her a mammy, and it was really sad to see. It's like they hate black women just as much as the abusive asshole men. Mabase, I have to agree. I noticed that the circle of the Boytow and the rest have a very small tolerance for any black women who go anywhere beyond the script. That's why I'm a huge supporter of Sweet Speaks. I like her a lot. I listen to her videos a lot. I think that and yeah, I think it sucks that they labeled her as a mammy and a traitor simply because she dared to point out that that black women can get into interracial relationships with white men, and they too have found themselves killed, murdered, abused, and everything else. And she was very clear in saying that that's not to say that it happens with all white men as much as it happens with all black men. And just because she said that, they attacked her. They went after her. Let's see here. Black Privilege says, "What do you think of Tariq Nasheed?" Well, Black Privilege, that's probably gonna require a whole video. I have not. I have not avoided talking about Tariq Nasheed on purpose or anything. It's just that Tariq Nasheed is not on my radar. You know what I'm saying? But I do know enough about him to know this. I can't get with anyone who promotes a form of pimp or pimping women or trying to run game on women or any of that fucking pickup artist bullshit and then marry it to black nationalism. It's the most weirdest thing. I gotta hand it to him. I gotta hand it to him that it is probably the most unique bastardization of black consciousness that I've ever seen. I got to give it to him. But no. I had old activist mentors though who once told me that they began to see pimps at one point use black consciousness as a way to convert or to recruit prostitutes or women into prostitution. But again, that was some bullshit that happened in the 60s when I was not even born or I was just a baby. So you'd have to talk to them about that. But I almost want to say that he kind of reminds me of the men that my mentors were talking about. Anyway, moving on. Why not now? So no, I don't like him. If to give you a shorter answer, I do like it. I do like parts of the first documentary, Hidden Colors, I think it was called. I saw that maybe 2 years ago or something like that. But and it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. But when it comes to the shit that he does and social media, no, hell no. And I think that the whole thing, that little argument, that little conflict he had with one of his, that girl that he had on his show for a while, I think that whole shit was scripted, man. Kind of like the Tommy Sotomayor and the Lana the Russian girl thing. That was all just some scripted shit. I think it was anyway. I'm not saying that it was a fact, but I think it was. Why not now says Strange Fruit always. Obsidian claims to be a doctoral student, but when I was a doctoral student, I didn't have time for YouTube. O'Shea, no, I think you're talking about O'Shea, not Obsidian. Why not now? Elm City says, oh shoot, I done passed up a whole. Hold on here. Oh man. Okay, I done. Hold on, y'all. Give me a second. Okay. Then let me see. City says, where is Big J at? He usually likes shit like this. Why not now says Mabase, couldn't agree more. Black Privilege. Why not now says Black Privilege. Tariq Nasheed is a very dangerous man. Very. Why not now says Garage Autonomist. That makes no logical sense. What do you mean? Okay. Why not now? Elm City, peace. Okay, so a lot of these YouTubers are scamming their audience, says Strange Fruit. No way is Obsidian a doctoral student. And as for O'Shea, not sure how he's passing his grades. That's a good point, Strange Fruit. I think that O'Shea is full of shit. I can guarantee you that he's looking at a bunch of D's and C's right about now. This motherfucker thinks that what he's going to do is do so well in social media and with that website, which by the way is always, have you guys ever gone to that website? The times that I've visited, every time I visit, the fucking website is down. I have no idea what's going on with it. Now, there's no such thing as so much traffic going to the website that it's down. Okay, this is not the 1990s. That was back in the 1990s. So anyway, he needs to do a little bit better if he wants to do a business and start his business in social media. If he wants to get out of medical school or thinks he can flunk out of medical school. Let me see. Why not now says I meant Obsidian, right? Okay. So GA, did you get my emails? Yes, City, I did. Remember, I responded to a couple of them, and we were dealing with Monkey Mills. Yeah. Anyway, let me go down a little bit more. Why not now says that capitalism is sexism. Is that Etcha says I've been subscribed to your channel for months. I've just missed all your live streams. I never comment because I'm usually always agree with you. Oh, thank you, thank you. Strange Fruit says I am thankful for the feminists that paved the way for more benevolent patriarchy. I don't get that. Black Privilege says be mindful that men don't get touched physically. That men don't get touched physically without capitalism. All right, I'm glad you brought that up, Black Privilege. I'm gonna take that as a question for tonight. Hopefully, I have enough time to get to it. Abase, oh no, Why Not Now says, I was shunned by the Boital because I'm married to a black man. Even if I want to support them, they are almost as bad. Okay, so I'm going to go down. You're right. She says I'm behind in the comments. I am. Blue Pure Butterfly Spirit. Oh, nice. You're live. And Mabase. Oh, man. Here we go. Hello, Pure Butterfly Spirit. Welcome. Mabasai. Alicia Kalma. Okay, I've never seen you before. Welcome. Did they just say feminism helps patriarchy? Did they mean third wave or in general? Is that Etcha says less fluffy question? What do you think of the left's general attitude towards women they deem as turfs? As well, what is your opinion of the recent rise in the transgender identity movement? Okay, Etchas, I'm going to answer that question, and I'm going to do that right now. I'm caught up on all the comments and the questions, so here we go. Yeah, here we go. All right, so to answer your question, is that Etchas, if I'm pronouncing your name correctly, I do not recognize the term TERFs. I am against that term. I don't think that while I do not believe trans women are men in dresses, I don't think in that way, nor will I ever misgender a trans person, whether they are trans man or a trans woman. And I would never use dead name them and all that stuff. While I would never do that, the question about I definitely have an issue with the misogynistic attitudes and what I feel is a misogynist agenda on both male feminists as well as some trans women in terms of trying to co-opt the feminist movement. And I feel that they are trying to do that by going directly after the radical feminists on the particular issue of transgender women. Or rather trans women. I think that women have every right to have a space to themselves. And again, I don't agree with the turf attack, and I'm against it, and I don't like the term. But yes, there are a lot of people on the left who take that position, but there aren't a lot of people on the left. But there are enough people on the left who do not agree with the term turf. I guess they're just not as vocal. Maybe they don't take to social media like they should. So I hope that I'm clear on that, because I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I think that a man can be uh, an ally to feminism. I think that he can be supportive of feminism, but I don't believe that a man can be a feminist any more than a white man or a white person really can be a black nationalist. They could be a supporter, but they can't be it because you have to be black in order to do that. So that's where I am. All right, so I hope I answered your question on that. Let me go back and see if I have any other questions. Do you think, oh, Pure Butterfly Spirit says, do you think it's time for people to create homesteads and mutual community farms and gardens? Yes, I do, Pure Butterfly Spirit. 100% I do. It's one of the things that I want to do myself. Um, it's one of the things that I want to do myself, once I retire, once I kind of am able to retire. I would love to buy. should I send should I send pizzas to his house? Yeah, hell yeah. Let's do that. Elm City. Anyway, I'm sorry. I would like to do that. I do believe that we should go back to the land, quote unquote. I think that, the way we even got to having a working class to begin with in the inner city and in industrial cities was that we were tricked off the land to begin with. That was the only time that people who were workers, I'm sorry, or those who were of the peasant or farmers or agricultural class had power, was that if they were able to have land, no matter how small. And so I do believe that collective farms should exist. I do believe that a community of collective farms should exist. And yes, they should also be armed. And they should be definitely anti-statist. So I hope that answers your question, Pure Butterfly Spirit. Elisa Karma says turf is thrown around a bit too easy. And there's, oh, wait, hold on. Shit, I got to go up a little bit. Alicia Carmen says turf is thrown around a bit too easy, and there's a trend to make memes about violating turfs, and it's getting out of hand. I do think that it's not an accident, Elisa, right? Is that what your name is? Elisa, I do believe that it's not an accident that the language aimed at turfs is getting violent. And again, it's nothing about, but here again is the perfect example about male violence in women and male violence in particular against feminists in particular. So we shouldn't be shocked that the language, the attitudes around turfs, sorry, because again, I don't recognize the word, so they don't exist. But people who they want to label as turfs, i.e., women and radical feminists, I don't think it's an accident that it's violent, that the memes are getting violent and out of control. But then that's typical male uh, misogynist behavior. Okay, let's see here, and I'm going to scroll down a little bit. All right, yeah, pure butterfly spirit. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for that question. It's a great question. Um, why not now, Andrew Carl? What's that about? Okay, so let me see here. My boss says, I think I kind of like the gender nihilist view. Madam Whipbass. Oh, wait, damn. Hey, what's up, Madam Whipbass? Welcome. Pure Butterfly says, where is your friend Monkey Handlebars garage? I'm going to tell you, Pure Butterfly Spirit. I waited till the last, I changed my mind at the last minute. I was going to, right. I was going to allow him to come into the chat. I was going to unban him, but looking at all the questions, all his comments, as you remember, that he left in your video, I feel like he's never going to listen to me. I feel like this guy, no matter how many times I engage him, I'm not looking for him to agree with me necessarily, but he's not open to listening. And that just tells me right there that I'll just be, arguing with a brick wall. And the only time he ever comes here, and the only times that he's ever come here, only thing he's ever done was call me names. So I don't have time for that shit. So I just changed my mind. I figured I'd give him enough name and enough energy and talk about the stuff that he said to me, and then that was it. Okay, I'm gonna read that book, Why Not Now, by hold on here. He read about the stolen lands of blacks from whites Takeover in Black Beaches and Encroachment. Oh, I definitely will check out that book. I'm going to order it first thing in the morning. Thank you. Why Not Now? His name is Andrew Carl, I believe you said. Yeah, that's it. Let me go ahead and copy his name real quick. Okay. Uh, Black Privilege has a comment here. He says, the question of social capital exchange between men and women and still on the table. Men need capitalism as a means of social exchange with women. True or false? Good question. Thank you, Black Privilege. No, I do not believe that um, men need capitalism in order to have an exchange with women. Now, I'm pretty sure now your question is coming from an honest place. That's the reason why I'm going to respectfully answer you, because I'm glad you brought that up. And I think that I really need to make a video about this because um, oh my God, there's a statement that I really got to share with you guys, but I'm going to have to share it in the video. Men, you're right. The thing is, Black Privilege, you're helping me prove my point. Men use capital in order to get what they want. And it even goes further back, even before, if you want to go back to the earliest days of human existence, what did men do in order to get women that they wanted if it wasn't, well, if they didn't, just simply kidnap them? They used cows, they used land, they used whatever they could use in order to win the hand of a woman from her original patriarch, i.e., her father. Correct? Okay. So as human society began to become more evolved, we used more sophisticated ways of winning over the hand of a woman. So in a lot of ways, this kind of system socialized women into saying, okay, for me to marry, this man has to provide this, that, and the other. Now, this doesn't always have to be the case for most women. Now, we do live in a society where everybody across the board, in order for us to exist, we have to have a job, we have to have money, this, that, and the other, So the thing is that it only makes sense that even if a woman is as egalitarian in her approach to relationships as possible, she doesn't want to live with a dude who's not going to do anything at all. That doesn't necessarily make her materialistic. It just means that she doesn't want to have to be the one who has to bust her ass to keep a roof over her head with someone else. That's all. But the point here is this. No, we don't need money and material to get a woman. Okay. I think that in a lot of ways, we almost have to start from scratch of a new society and new values in order to get an equal exchange, or sorry, an equal situation where everyone can come together in relationships without everybody checking for each other's bank accounts. Now, I got lucky with in terms of my partner. I mean, when we got together, my wife and I, we didn't have shit. We were both poor as fuck. But we fell in love with each other. I mean, we both had jobs. Well, she was a student, I had a job. But I mean, the point here is that it depends on the people. It depends on people getting together and stuff like that. But anyway, but that's a good question that you have. But no, I do not believe that men need capitalism in order to get a woman. You just have to look for and find the woman who's not materialistic in that way and values you in other ways. Anyway, so Mabasi says, I feel like capitalism kind of rewards betas. Really, like in a keyboard jockey, I'm a keyboard jockey. I should be a virgin still, but my access to capital has me married. Is that Etcher says, Mabasai, I'm a detransitioner. When I identified as When I identified as a trans man, I never found the language around transition to be effective advocacy for radical feminism. Is that okay? Is that just also says I like calling trans bodies mutilated or calling trans men lost sisters. Hmm. Okay. Why Not Now says, you are right. No matter how egalitarian we are, it's still a bit of a struggle with hubby. It's hard to overcome indoctrination of gender, division of labor. Yes, it is. Men and even men who are egalitarian or who claim to be so, why not now? In their minds, they think they're egalitarian, but they never really check themselves in terms of the division of labor in a relationship. Like, perfect example, even a guy like me, okay, it took me many years to really even begin to notice my wife's frustration at some of the things that she was doing all on her own that I never really started to notice. And it really did have an effect on our marriage. And so it wasn't until I had to really sit down and talk to her and really find out and understand what it was that, everything that she was doing. And then I had to like go like, okay, well, um, just tell me what you need for me to do, and I'll share in it. And even then, it's like, well, now I'm asking her for more labor for her to have to do that. So it was more of a thing where it's just common sense had to kick in and see where it was that where it was that I wasn't doing enough of, and seeing all that she was doing, and I just needed to kick in and just started fucking doing it. So I totally get what you're saying there. That's a very good statement. Why not now? Why not now says, though we're in the same field and earn around the same, I I will a bit more comfortable. I'm a bit more comfortable that he earns a bit more than me. Why, I'm not sure. There's more comfort in that. Why not now says, I've been with my boyfriend for 10 years. Still hard to overcome that shit. Mabase, I was talking about black privilege, about the capitalism and the beta thing. Oh, right, right. Okay, I get you now. Why not now? Okay. So I hope that I've answered y'all's questions. I know that I was jumping back and forth to people's comments, but I hope that that was articulate in what I was saying about uh, do men need capitalism? I was saying that no, they don't. I do think that men are not. I do think that men need to unsocialize or unpack that feeling that in order for them to have a relationship with a woman, they need to be they need to use money and wealth as a form of control or a form of attraction. On the other end of it all, you got to understand it. It was men who socialized women to be dependent on us or to look for us in terms of material ways. That's how come I don't really go into the whole calling women gold diggers and stuff. Would I personally want to have a relationship with a woman who's a gold digger? or well, I really shouldn't use that word, but my point is, would I do that ever? No, hell no, because that's not what I want her to want out of me. But I understand that she by herself alone is not at fault for that. I know that that's the way we socialized girls really from womanhood to be that way. Okay, so is that Etcha says you misread me. The rad feminism language around transition and trans people calling trans bodies mutilated. Okay, okay, thank you. And calling trans men lost sisters. I don't think that language is good or effective. Yeah, I mean, I don't uh myself believe in using language like that either. So I understand what you're saying. It's the only thing that I disagree with the radical feminists on. But again, I believe I agree with so many other things that radical feminists stand for. I don't go out of my way to make whole videos and needing to make big statements about what I disagree with radical feminists on and this, that, and the other. Not because I see that as an attack. I just don't think it's worth it. Pure butterfly spirit. Still would like to know your perfect concept of socialism. Yes, yes, Pure Butterfly Spirit. That video is coming. It is. And I have not forgotten it. I've actually started working on it. And you're good. You're going to see it. Like I said, this has been one crazy, busy ass school year on both personal as well as work wise, and so it's just been nuts for me. And so things just slowed down considerably in terms of the kind of work that I've been doing. But yes, Pure Butterfly Spirit, I am going to come out with that video about socialism. It's going. As a matter of fact, it's even titled. It's called "My Socialism: Answering Pure Butterfly Spirit." So I think that because I am now 15 minutes away from this episode, from ending this, I got to. Great. I'm going to go ahead and go into the one thing that Alyssa Kalma, sorry, says gold digging and all kind of bullshit would decrease if there was a proper basic income. Yeah, Alicia, I've been, people have been talking about this a lot lately, or should I say, a lot of leftists, a lot of radical leftists have been debating on this. You have some, particularly, it's funny how the Maoists particularly have an issue with it, but that's because I think they share in what's called the first world political line. First worldism means that there won't be a revolution from the first world countries, from the industrial countries like America, the UK, Canada, but that the revolution will begin from third world. It's really called third worldism. And that one of the things that might increase first worldism would be if there was a basic income. I'm telling you right now, I do feel that I don't really think that a basic income system will affect whether or not we have, or make or break whether or not we have or won't have a revolution at all. But I do agree with there being a basic income system. I think that if we did have that, it would then, I can guarantee you, prostitution, even pornography probably would just disappear like that. Most crime would disappear. So I do believe in the basic income idea, and a proper one at that. So I have no problem with it. And no, I don't think that it would hinder our prospects in first world countries for there to ultimately be a revolution. We just have to be mindful of it and not let a basic income be some kind of way of, and let that be an opiate, if you will. Mabasi says that they are implementing it next year in Oakland. For real? They're going to implement basic income in Oakland? I got to keep my eye on that. That's interesting. I'm actually glad to hear that. But it is for the poor and people of a certain income bracket. Well, I mean, okay, that's good. I mean, it's better than nothing because, as we all know, when middle class America, or when they catch a cold, the poor catch a flu. So I'm glad to hear that. Is that Etcha says, I think drug legalization would have to happen for prostitution to completely go away, or nearly do so. Um, yeah, I think that I don't think 100% that I think drug use amongst prostitutes is part of what happens because they started prostitution. I think that when there's no way you can actually do sex work and be stone cold sober day in, day out. I can't. I mean, I can only imagine that the wear and tear on your body and mentally would be something that you have to numb with drugs. So I don't know. I think that if you if you start off with prostitution, you probably wound up became an addict because of it. That's what I think. Um, and there's studies on that. You know what? I should have looked up that before I brought that up, but then I didn't expect anybody to bring that up. That's a good point. Um, Pure Butterfly Spirit says, I have a very close trans female friend. I consider my sister literally. She's been there for me, and over the years, she has supported me. Okay, I get you. Over the years, she has supported me during my grief of my father passing, as was his funeral. Right, right, right. Why Not Now says she's torn on the legalization issue. Okay. Well, I mean, I don't think that people, I'm pretty sure a lot of people get torn on it because they think that if it's legalized, people are going to go ham on the drugs and we're just going to have drug addicts everywhere. But to be honest with you, we have always had drug addicts everywhere. I don't think it's going to get any worse. I honestly don't. Legalize it. And I think that there should be a special clause that allows those who've been selling drugs to, I don't know, be partners to the government to some degree instead of putting them in jail all the time. So anyway, oh Lord, oh Big J is here, but now Big J wants to come in and say prostitution would reduce divorce. Huh. Well, see, that's the thing, Big J. I believe in the Swedish model as an answer to prostitution, which means that I think that the men should be arrested and the prostitutes should be brought into a program that will help exile them. And the way to help exile them is one, if we give them a basic income, and two, if we give them education. The elite have always been good addicts. People testing them out were afraid of the law. Yeah. Sage Fruit said, Big J, nope, nope to Big J's comment. I have to agree. Big J, what about male prostitution? Strange Fruit says STDs. Yep. I'm sorry. I can't see prostitution helping uh marriage. Big J, you're gonna have to explain that one. But like I said, you're gonna have to explain that one. Hopefully you can do it in 7 minutes. Because again, I've got an early day tomorrow. But I did say I was going to end this at 11. So hopefully you'll be able to change. This is a great exchange, you guys. I think this is great. 12 people. Awesome. Believe me, I've had hangouts where I've only had 2 people or nobody at all. So, hold on here. Now, while you guys are talking, give me a minute. I think it'll take me about 10 minutes to do this. I did get one question. I wanted to touch on prostitution and porn. And you guys can keep talking, but I just got to read this question. And that's why I wanted to talk about prostitution and porn, because of a question that was sent to me in direct messaging from a Tammy Mertz. And Tammy Mertz asks, Garage, what do you think of porn and prostitution? Most people on the left seem to have mixed positions. People see both pros and cons when it comes to porn. As a subject of body sexual, I think she's saying body sexual freedom, and porn as a freedom of speech or of art. What do you think? Okay, so all right, let me see if I can try to answer this as quickly as possible without getting scatterbrained here. But actually, I practiced my answer. So here we go. This should be no surprise to anyone, but speaking as an anti-capitalist, both of these industries are exploitative to the ones being sold as a commodity. Now, being that we are under a patriarchy, typically, those who are meant to be sold for sex in both industries are women. Yes, there is same-sex porn for gay men, and there's male prostitution, but I'll get to that in a little bit. But like I said, but women are the majority of sex workers in porn and in prostitution. And since women's poverty rates or substantially above the poverty rate of men. Uh, like let's just say like back in 2015, I think those numbers were more than 1 in 8 women and more than 16.9 million, and nearly 1 in 5 children, more than 14.5 million. I'm gonna put the link in the chat room. But in with those numbers, these people have lived in poverty, and I will provide that link in a minute. Sorry, let me just grab that real quick in a minute. But anyway, but the way I see it, okay, when you consider the povertization of women and children, I see pornography and prostitution, i.e., exploiting the poor and working class women who are desperate enough to survive by means of selling their bodies. Um, that both of these industries use those social factors to make a profit. Now you can ask all kinds of questions like, what if they just want to do it for fun? Are they doing it for the drugs? Are they doing it because it's their choice? Or they're doing it because the money's good, etc. But in a lot of ways, when people throw these factors out, they do it to undermine all the work and the research that women activists and women thinkers, particularly feminists, have done in this area. Um, but poverty is the driving force, the way I see it, and uh, and that's the reason how these industries are able to grind on. Now, there are many other factors that lead to people who choose sex work. Black privilege just brought that up not too long ago. I think it was Black privilege who brought up drug addiction, for instance. There's sex abuse, uh, things like that, and then they get tricked into, they get tricked by pimps or others, even family members, really. So if you just look at the lives of those who get involved in this, they come from typically they come from poor families. There are no services, there's abuse, things like that. Now, that is the reason why in books and movies, however, that like to romanticize the quote unquote happy hooker, it always seems that we see like sort of like these upper class white girls who suddenly can't pay for college or something, and then they're hooking up with jet setter clients and shit like that. Now, I didn't come to these conclusions about in my opposition to these industries, really to prostitution and pornography, because I read a bunch of books or because I came around a bunch of feminists. I mean, not completely. Um, One, I think, it was 18. I was 18 years old when a friend of mine, a former friend of mine, thought he would be cute. When we went to Matamoros, Mexico to hang out and to shoot the shit. And he thought he would be cute and he to buy me a prostitute or whatever because it was my 18th birthday. I'm not blaming him because it was my choice, but that was a choice that I had regretted, and I never repeated that choice again, ever again. And I wish I could lie to say that at the time I regretted it because I had come to some political consciousness. But unfortunately, another way that men are socialized in terms of masculinity is that one of those rules dictates that if you choose prostitutes, then you aren't a real player. But it wasn't until I got around Marxist feminists in my early 20s who, in political conversations, they basically educated me on the real nature of prostitution. One of them had actually was a sex worker, and she really went into detail about how that what she was going through and the kind of home that she came from. So then from that, I began to understand that a so-called paying customer, while they're not a pimp or they're not necessarily the capitalist system itself, they're still exploiting someone. And that is the reason why, I'm against it. Uh, you know, Using someone in that way for sex. And I do see the industry. particularly, I do see women one as a social class. So I do think that that industry feeds or works or functions off of the exploitation of that particular social class. Now, when it comes to men and male porn actors, male prostitutes rather, and porn actors, first of all, we all know that most male prostitutes were boys. So they're sold into sex work or tricked into it or forced into it either by poverty or by someone else. So yes, they're definitely exploited. So no, I don't think that prostitution is necessarily just about women. They still are the majority of the sex workers, but definitely it's boys and children and girls too. Definitely girls. So that's again, that's the reason why I am against it. Pornography, of course, is a whole nother thing. You get not that I am against it. I don't watch it anymore. Again, it was more like burnout for me. I just in realizing that it just feeds again off of people who are desperate to eat and desperate to survive, and whatever was it that pushed them to doing it is something that I don't really want to, that I can't gain pleasure off of. So that's the reason why I don't look at porn, and that's the reason why I'm against it as an industry. So that's where I stand on that. All right, now I know the chat room is going crazy, but I really needed to get that out because I did promise that I would talk about it, and it's something that everyone's always wanted to know. Let me go back up again, and so I can catch up on what everyone is saying here. Let's see. Big J Triple X says, "Where did I say that women don't?" I don't know what he's talking about, but I'm pretty sure he'll explain. Strange Fruit says, "Male nature. I think culture plays a more vital role." Yeah, I mean, okay, maybe she's talking about prostitution. Big J Triple X, if you are marrying for sex, you are doing it wrong, says Strange Fruit. Big J Triple X says, we live in a world where women benefit from marriage more than men. Big J, see, let me talk about that for a second, because again, this is what's going to prompt me to doing a hypergamy video. Um, Everyone thinks that it's a clear ride for most women in a marriage. But when you look at the fact that I can tell you right now, Big J, right now, I know okay, I'll be fair. Three women who were married. They did it. They went the traditional route, i.e., they were housewives, they were homemakers, rather, I guess the word I should use. And then the marriage ended. Well, the thing about that, Big J, is this: the reason why women wind up winning, quote unquote, winning in court and family court after a divorce, and why they get alimony is very simple. When you made the commitment to marry and you made the commitment to be the homemaker, with the agreement that you guys are going to be married until death do you part, the thing is that you've taken yourself out of the workplace. You've taken yourself out of the job market. So when you're doing that and you're building a home, but then for whatever reasons, it may be the man's fault. It may just be that the woman's fault. Like ultimately, she's not feeling it. But 9 times out of 10, it might be just the fact that they got more than what they bargained for. They wound up having to deal with more than they bargained for. So what happens is that ultimately you have a situation where the women, because they've been out of the workplace, it's hard for them to start back again at a certain age with either minimal education, not enough education, or outdated education to where they can actually be competitive in the workforce after their marriage has ended. So no, women don't benefit that much from marriage if that marriage ends or if that marriage was abusive. Now, Why Not Now says, that's an interesting way of looking at the issue. I think she was talking about when I was talking about prostitution. Big J Triple X says you were talking about male and female nature. Pure Butterfly Spirit says, does any woman in here want their husbands having sex with prostitutes? And would you divorce them if you found out? I would hope, Pure Butterfly Spirit, I agree with you. I would hope those women in there would say, hell no, they don't want their husbands having sex with prostitutes. One, because whether you use a condom or not, it doesn't protect you from things like herpes. Two, you could come home with anything else for that matter. And three, then the idea is why is your entire being so much about sex that you're willing to pay labor off of a woman's body just to have it? And what is wrong with you with the sex with you and your wife? Like, come on, man. I don't buy that for 1 minute. Prostitution does not help a marriage. That's fucking nuts. I'm sorry. Strange fruit. There are actual studies showing that men benefit most from marriage. Strange fruit. I have to agree. Um, I have to agree. I don't know how I can agree. I can just tell you that I am happiest when my wife and I are getting along really well and things are going really well. So I don't know. I think that you're right. You know, I don't know what to say. Is that Etcha says I'm on and off done. I have done on and off prostitution, and everyone, including me, was fucked up. It wasn't fun. Nobody found it fun. I wasn't about sex. It wasn't about sex for us. It was just for the money. Thank you, thank you. Is that Etches? Thank you so much. That's exactly what I was trying to get at. Of course, it's hard for someone who's never prostituted themselves and who's a man really to try to talk about that stuff. But like I said, without actually talking to somebody who actually was a sex worker, but based on the things that I've read, people like Sheila Jeffries, people like it's not Gloria Steinem, but oh God, Andrea Dworkin. And you got to understand, is that it's just I was the typical leftist male years ago in terms of not really giving a shit about women in that way. Like by rote and by dogma, I gave a shit about women, but there was no real deep understanding. And no, in other words, I was a misogynist leftist male. Okay. That's the reality. That's the truth. And I even cursed the name of Andrea Dworkin, even though I never read one thing from her. Okay. And I still haven't really read that much of her, but I do know enough about her viewpoints and her theories, and I've read enough about her theories on prostitution. And the older I get, the more the more radical feminists make sense to me on these issues, on a lot of issues. I don't know why. I don't know why it has to do with my age, or maybe just maturity, maybe my deepening radicalism. I don't know. Pure Butterfly Spirit says, why not now? Thank you. Strange Fruit says, poor man. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me go back. Oh, shit. Damn it. Okay. Strange Fruit says, poor men are not marrying because they lack resources and assets to do so. Big J Triple X says, if that's true, then I would be married. Strange Fruit, well, then well off married men marry. Well off men marry. Um, hmm, yeah, maybe that's true. Why not now? Says Big J Triple X. You need to look for your lady in the right places, which I agree. I don't think men have a lot of patience in terms of waiting or looking for women. To be honest with you, they just look for Miss Right Now. If you ask me, it seems to be the thing. All right. So Elisa Kalma says unrelated, but I wonder how much shit you got from the skeptic feminist video. Oh, Elisa Kalma. I got it's interesting that you brought that up. I got maybe two video responses regarding the Skeptic Feminist video. And the responses were quite interesting. One dude said that I didn't know what I was talking about in terms of, in other words, he was saying that my position on men and violence on women, that the death, sorry, the death of of uh, uh, of Ivy. I hate to use her screen name like that, but her name is drawing a blank for me right now. Sorry, but the death of Ivy was a typical case of male violence against women. And his video was saying, well, the guy was high. He was high on mushrooms. Why can't you see that? Why can't you see that that was the issue? Let me put it to you this way. If it really was about the drugs, if he was really that high, Russian Deadpool, and this is just to let everybody know what I'm talking about. The Skeptic Feminist channel was hosted by three people: Russian Deadpool, a woman named Ivy, and another woman who called herself Harlequin, a homicidal Harley. And it turns out that he had a relationship with with both of those women. It turns out that he murdered earlier in May, he murdered one of the women, Ivy, one night, and he claims that it was because he took some spore contaminated. He took some shrooms that were contaminated by PCP. Now, the reason why I can't completely buy into that, I know that that's his truth, okay, but I don't buy into it. If that was the case, all them goddamn rats that he kept, they too would have been in danger. It wouldn't have just been Ivy. It would have been the neighbors, the kids' neighbors, whoever, himself. There's a million different things. If he was that fucking zonked out completely like that, and then that much of a deep psychosis, then he would have done a lot more damage than just murder the one person who's close to him and the one person that he claim that he loved. So I'm sorry, I don't buy into it. And so that's what the guy was saying. So yeah, I did get some shit, but it wasn't a lot of shit. Believe me, I kind of, I mean, the thing is, I'm mainly ignored by most of the manosphere. They really don't. They don't make videos about me. They don't come after me. They don't do anything like that. And mainly because I know that they're scared to death of me. I don't know why, but they are. Pure Butterfly Spirit says, exactly, Garage. Mabasa says, capitalism drives men to want to collect women like we do other possessions. I agree 100% on that. Can't just keep plowing the same chick. Got to get that new iPhone, son. Big J Triple X says, Pure Butterfly Spirit, I wasn't talking about married men having sex with a prostitute. Well, who are you talking about? I was referring to single men. Okay. Pure Butterfly Spirit, Big J, you said prostitution saves marriage from your own written mouth. He did say that. Strange Fruit says sex is a spiritual tie. Yeah. I mean, well, it doesn't always have to be spiritual, but yeah. I'm gonna skip on down just a little bit here just to catch up because, like I said, I'm running out of time now. Black Privilege says, excuse my typos, I'm on the phone. Okay, Pure Butterfly Spirit, the reason men don't wait. Big J Triple X says, Butterfly Spirit, there are two schools of thought. If a man doesn't wait, he gets tangled in a mess. If he waits until his 30s, he gets nothing. Strange Fruit laughs. Is that Etcher says, GA, if you kill someone under the influence of drugs, you're still responsible for your actions. I agree. That's what I'm talking about. Mushrooms are being tainted by PCP sounds like some absolute bullshit. I 100% agree. Thank you, is that Etches. Big J Triple X says, so that pearl isn't real. I don't know what that means. is that etches, why would someone waste mushrooms or PCP mixing them? That's not cost effective. Strange fruit, Phoenix. Oh man, Phoenix, you just showed up. I was just about to shut down. Ah, okay. Well, look, y'all, this was a great Q&A or conversation. Fuck it. But I think that I did get to answer everybody's question. Ah, Phoenix. Ah, man. Okay. But I really got to go because y'all, I've got an early day tomorrow. So, because I got some things that I got to take care of, and I really do need to start making, I'm going to be dedicating all day tomorrow on video. So, but I got to handle some business first. So I want to thank everyone for coming, and I want to thank all the questions. I think I did very well in answering them. How often will you do these? Yes, is that it's just the live? I'm going to start the live shows again on a Thursday schedule. But if you guys want to type in the comments section when I'm done with this, you could tell me what would be a better day where all of you can show up. So if Thursday night works, that's fine. I would prefer Thursday night since technically my Fridays will begin where I'm off every Friday. So I would prefer to do it Thursdays, but we'll see. But I want to thank you all so much. I really got to go. And I hope you do go ahead and listen to this. I try to keep this video. I try to keep the chats, sorry, the broadcast down to an hour or even less because I think that people will listen to them more if they're shorter, once they're uploaded. Thursday night works because I'm often off every Friday. Good. Every other Friday. Good. So I think I'm going to do these every Thursday. And Big J Triple X is going to do a hangout later on. So I encourage everybody else in the chat to go check out his channel. Big J talks about some pretty good things. So I'm going to sign off, but I hope everybody goes to his channel for his hangout. And I want to thank everybody. I want to thank Black Privilege. I'm gonna do a hangout with you. I'm gonna do one. I think that you're very interesting. I think that you and I would have a very interesting conversation, and you and I can show BGS Ibmore and Obsidian what a conversation between grown adult males look like. Phoenix Cheston says, damn, the video isn't even playing. It's stuck in a super spin. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Elisa Kalma. Thank you. All right, guys. Thank you so much. And peace. This is the Garage Autonomous. I will see you next Thursday, but I do have videos coming up and a autonomous lounge and everything else. Peace.